Canadian NSA's remark. You know, I was, what shall I say? Okay. The phrase which came to my mind was actually a Hindi phrase, which was Ulta Chor Kotwal Ko Dante. I mean, if anybody has a complaint, we have a complaint about Canada. You know, what I said earlier, the space that they're giving to Khalistanis and to violent extremists. So I was very perplexed by what I heard. You know, for some time now, there is this case of students who the Canadians say did not study in the college which they should have studied, and when they applied for a work permit, they got into difficulties. From the very start, we, meaning the Foreign Ministry here, as well as our High Commission and the consulates in Canada, have taken up their case. And our point is that, look, the students studied in good faith. You know, if there were people who misled them, the people who misled them, the culpable parties should be acted against. It is unfair to punish a student who undertook their education in good faith. So the latest report that I got, in fact only this morning, was that I think yesterday the Canadian Prime Minister also kind of made a statement in the House of Commons there, and the Minister also tweeted something, and they have also been talking to our High Commission out there. I think the Canadians also accept that, you know, it would be unfair. I mean, if a student has done no wrong, and you know, I don't know if all the cases are the same. I mean, there is a granularity about it which, sitting at this distance, neither you or I can judge. If if a student has done no wrong, they accept the idea that you know, they have to find some solution for it. So we will continue to press, and I would very much hope that the Canadian system is fair in that regard. Regarding this float issue used, let me actually answer it, because I think there's a bigger issue involved, and the bigger issue involved is really the space that Canada has continuously, and frankly to us, you know, we are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this. Because if you look at their history, I mean, you would imagine that they learn by the history and they wouldn't like to repeat their history. So you know, it isn't only one incident, however egregious it may be. I think there is a larger underlying issue about the space which is given to separatists, to extremists, to people who advocate violence. And I think it's not good for the relationship, and I think it's not good for Canada.
On this particular report which has come, I also saw it yesterday night. I was coming to Odisha in the morning. Okay, I mean, somebody may have been arrested, their police may have done some investigation. But the fact is, number of gangland people, number of people with organized crime links from Punjab have been made welcome in Canada. We have been telling Canada, saying, look, these are wanted criminals from India. You have given them visas. They have come, many of them, in false documentation. And yet you allow them to live there. If you decide to import for political purposes people with very dubious, actually very negative background, there will be issues. You know, they have, in some cases, created problems in their own country as a result of their own policies. No, why would we fear? I mean, if something happened there, it is for them to worry about. Our biggest problem right now is in Canada. Because in Canada, actually, today the party in power in Canada, other parties in Canada, have given these kinds of extremism, separatism, advocates of violence a certain legitimacy in the name of free speech. See, when you tell them something, their answer is, no, 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 we are a democracy, but it is free speech. But the point that they need to understand, this kind of, you know, it's no longer a world which runs as a one-way street. That if there are things which happen out there, there will be pushback. You know, the Newton's law of politics will apply there also. You know, that there will be a reaction. Others will take steps or counter it. When I see, for example, these kinds of attacks or threats to our embassies, because they concern me very deeply, and I tell the foreign minister, saying, suppose it happened to you. If it was your diplomat, your embassy, your flag, how would you react? So we have to keep our position strong.
We have had an ongoing problem with Canada and the Canadian government for some years now. And the ongoing problem really revolves around the permissiveness in regard to terrorism, extremism and violence. And this permissiveness is also reflected in the fact that some important extradition requests have not been responded to from their side, in the fact that there are individuals and organizations who are clearly involved with violence and illegal activities in India, who themselves declared it. I mean, it is not a secret. And that they continue to carry on with their activities in Canada. And most important, the fact that our diplomatic missions and our diplomatic personnel have been consistently and continuously intimidated in Canada, to a point where today it is not safe for them really to carry on with their work. I mean, obviously, the fact that we've had to temporarily suspend our visa operations, I mean, it is not something we would have liked to do. It is just that they have made it very difficult for us to operate those services, because our personnel are today insecure. We are a democracy. We don't need to learn from other people what freedom of speech is about. But we can tell people this: we don't think freedom of speech extends to incitement to violence. That to us is misuse of freedom. It's not a defense of freedom. And I always ask people one question: how would you react if you were in my shoes? If it was your diplomats, your embassies, your people, what would be your reaction?
कुछ ऐसा भी है कि हम लोगों के विरुद्ध, यानी कि देश के अंदर कुछ प्रवृत्तियां चलती रहती हैं देश विरुद्ध। वो कुछ देश उनको आसरा खुलेआम देते हैं। कनाडा, पाकिस्तान की तो मैं बात ही नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन कनाडा, चलिए, और यूके अभी काफी हद तक उसमें सुधार आया है, लेकिन फिर भी एक्टिविटीज हमारे देश के विरुद्ध वहां काफी कुछ हैं। तो हमको आप डील तो कर ही रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें थोड़ा लाइट दें उसमें कि किस तरह से उनको आप डील करते हैं।
नहीं, जो आप कह रहे हैं वो आप ठीक ही कह रहे हैं कि क्योंकि आपने उदाहरण कनाडा का लिया। हमारी चिंता कनाडा के साथ ये है कि उनके अपने राजनीति में उन्होंने ऐसे ऐसे विचारधाराओं और ताकतों को जगह दी है जो हमारे खिलाफ तो हैं, पर हम उनको कहते हैं कि भाई आपके लिए भी ये काम नहीं आएंगे कि आप अगर ऐसे लोगों को बसने दोगे और इनको आप अपने राजनीति में शामिल करोगे तो ये आपका भी बहुत भारी नुकसान होगा। क्योंकि जिनको मैं कहूँगा जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट सोच के लोग हैं, जो कभी कभी आतंकवाद की भी प्रशंसा करते, वो आप ही बताइए डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी में, किसी भी डेमोक्रेट, मैं खाली कनाडा की बात नहीं कर रहा, कि एक बार आपने ऐसे लोगों को जगह दे दी और वो कहीं ना कहीं आपके पॉलिटिक्स में उन्होंने अपना स्पेस बना लिया, उसका तो दुरुपयोग जरूर करेंगे वो लोग। और जैसे मैंने कहा, जब एक बार स्पेस दे दिया फिर वो बोलने लग गए, फिर बातें आगे बढ़ गई, फिर उस रिश्तों पे तो उसका प्रभाव पड़ ही होता है।
You used a different word. I think the word they used was allegation. So, I've already, I think, answered it starting with Lalit, which is, we've always said that, look, if there is information, let us know. So, our doors, I want to make one thing very clear.
It's not that our doors are shut to looking at something. If there is a requirement for us to look at something, we are open to looking at it. But, I then expect, somewhere, some pointer, something for me to look at.